Hi, it's Mike back once again with tip number 54 from our top 100 tips, tools, and life lessons. And what we'd like to do here is begin to explore how we can let go of guilt and resentment. And we're going to explore that a little bit more on the next tip as well. If you look at the dynamic in terms of guilt and resentment and that wall that we talked about that allows us to hold our image in the face of it being violated, either by ourselves or by someone else, to allow the guilt or resentment to go, we have to balance those two. Somehow, the action and the image have to begin to match one another. With guilt, we say the first place to look is at your action. Is there anything you can change about your action? If you're feeling guilty about not following through on your diet, then first place to look is can you change that action to be consistent with the image you're holding of yourself? So first scan through and see if there's any change of action you can take. In some cases, there's things that maybe it's something that we did or didn't do months or years ago, and we actually can't change that. We say, then look at the image side. What can I do to shift my image? And what we say is, you're not going to change the image in terms of course you want to stay as a good person. You want to continue to kind of uphold the qualities that is the best version of yourself. But as we mentioned before, oftentimes, the image we hold of ourselves is not just good, but it's asking us to be perfect. And it doesn't give us any room to be human. And so one of the ways to work to let go of guilt is to allow us to upgrade or shift that image of ourselves that yes, we're good, yes, we're caring, we're loving, and we're human. And sometimes we make mistakes, and sometimes we say things we don't want to, because that's what we do as human beings. And we can bring in a bit more of that image that allows us to be human, that acknowledges we're doing the best we can. That level of compassion and forgiveness, which we're going to go into a little bit more in our next tip, allows us to kind of soften that image. Still hold it, but not hold it as perfect. Hold it as human. And when we do that, we begin to lessen the guilt. With resentment, it's somewhat similar, except that it's kind of hard to ask someone else to change their action. You might if you're in a real close relationship, but more than likely you're going to need to look at the image side. And in this case, it's really looking at, are you willing to let go of being right about making someone else wrong? Are you willing to give someone else that compassion? Can you allow yourself to allow them to be human? And so when you can do that and kind of shift your image that doesn't hold them to perfection and allows them to be human, then we also can begin to let go of that resentment. And as we said, that resentment is hurting you. It's not hurting somebody else. So again, a couple of tips in terms of what you can do to begin to let go of guilt and resentment. And we're going to take a next step in our next tip to look more fully around forgiveness as one of the core aspects of how we do that. So thank you for listening. Check out what's happening at Insight Boston at insightboston.org, what's happening globally at insightseminars.org, and check out what's happening in your local Insight community. Have a great day.